Chef for over 50 years.
Service.
And I've come to realise that the food we eat tells a story about who we are.
So I'm on a mission to find out what we all like to eat today.
Oh, that is good.
From our traditional dishes
Long live the Yorkshire pudding.
to those we've made our own.
I mean, that is multifaceted Britain on one page.
I'll meet producers,
There you see a robot. It's picking them.
I find a lot of craft beers too hoppy. Don't know why, but it tastes all right.
some of our best chefs,
We're picking scurvy grass.
Crikey.
Pretty punchy.
plus those keeping traditions alive.
We've just got to finish. I have no hope.
I'll see how food brings us together.
Lovely, that sort of hot garlic. Fabuloso.
And from my home in Padstow, I'll bring you great dishes of my own.
Love stuff like this. So join me as I unearth the stories behind the food we all love to eat today.
Today I'm in Lincolnshire, an overwhelmingly rural county. It's not one many people think to visit, but it was right at the top of my list for this series because a surprisingly large proportion of our food is grown here, including a third of our veg.
I'm driving through the really rather unspoilt scenery of the Lincolnshire Wolds. And if you're lucky enough, have a good fortune to be travelling through this magnificent but rather overlooked part of the country, can I suggest a song for your playlist? It's an 18th century folk song called The Lincolnshire Poacher.
Oh, when I was bound apprentice in famous Lincolnshire, 'twas well I served me master for nigh on 7 years, till I took up to poaching, as you shall quickly hear. Oh, 'tis my delight in the shining light in the season of the year. Oh, 'tis my delight.
Everybody loves the rebel, and what's great about it is the euphoria of the poacher. It's my delight on a shiny night.
Success to every poacher that wants to sell a hare.
And his love of the countryside and his joy in doing things in his own way.
Oh, 'tis my delight in the shining light in the season of the year.
Lincolnshire is England's second largest county. At its heart is the city of Lincoln, with its imposing cathedral, once the tallest building in the world. And on its coast can be found the popular seaside resort of Skegness. It's also a county steeped in centuries of farming tradition. But what I'm about to share with you is a food story that's altogether more futuristic. This giant greenhouse in Carrington, southern Lincolnshire, spans 15 acres and houses 700,000 strawberry plants. Extra heat is filtered in so that strawberries can be grown in the winter. Trials are underway to have them picked by robots 24 hours a day. And bug guns release insects which eat other insects on the plants, meaning there's less need for pesticides. The man behind this intriguing combination of farming and scientific experimentation is none other than James Dyson, more familiar to most of us as the inventor of the bagless vacuum cleaner.
First and foremost, I mean, how did this happen? I mean, how did you start growing strawberries or farming?
I was brought up in North Norfolk, where a lot of my friends were farmers. And I worked on farms, lugging sacks of potatoes, picking black currants. So I wouldn't say farming's in my blood, but I was brought up with it.
Yeah.
And when I was in a position to buy farms, I wanted to bring technology to it. I mean, we developed technology at Dyson, and we're now developing technology for farming. There you see robotic UV lights, and they go down at night to kill the mildew. So there's no nasty chemicals here. They're lovely strawberries, by the way, and we grow them all year round, which is interesting. So they're no air mile strawberries.
What's behind this fascinating project is James's belief that we need new and efficient ways to grow more of our own food to make us less reliant on imports.
We should be using Britain to grow food, grow delicious food, do it sustainably, so that we're not dependent on imported air miles or sea miles fruit and food.
Well, you always feel a bit guilty when you look at sort of, I don't know, some green beans and it's from Uganda or somewhere. How much did that cost to bring them here?
Not a very good idea from a sustainability point of view, but also
yeah.
a security point of view.
Well, I'd like to taste one, actually. They're looking so good.
Right, now, rather naughtily, I'll pick one.
Lovely.
Fruity.
Nice acidity,
Yeah.
sweetness,
Sweetness.
freshness, and really, really juicy. You know, my initial thinking before I came here was, wouldn't strawberries that grow in the ground taste better? I'd have thought the terroir mattered.
Doesn't matter at all, but they're century morling, which is a good breed anyway.
Right.
But we also pump CO2 in here. CO2 makes things grow and makes things taste good.
Now, where that CO2 or carbon dioxide comes from is also interesting, because outside the greenhouse, there's a huge operation going on. Over more than 10,000 acres, where James is growing crops like wheat, barley and peas. But carbon dioxide is also being captured as part of a carefully designed farming system.
Gosh, that's the greenhouse we've been in.
The reason it's right next to us here is
Yeah.
that we're actually standing on an anaerobic digester.
A digester.
And I'll tell you how it works. We bring in crops. That green crop down there has just landed. We've unloaded it. It's a barley crop. And we tamp it down. When it's rotted and it's going almost liquid, we bring it in and we put it in we've got 2 tanks here. And we stir it. It turns into gas. Now, we can either use that gas to feed into the greenhouse, CO2 into the greenhouse, or we feed it to 3 generators and generate electricity. And that electricity supports 10,000 homes.
Plus
Any electricity we need in the glass house.
Unbelievable.
Now, a generator is only 60% efficient, so there's 40% waste heat. So we're using the 40% waste heat to heat the greenhouses in the winter, and the waste digestate goes back on the fields. So it's natural fertilizer. It's a circular system.
It's unbelievable.
And totally green, really.
And this is sort of doable in many other places, really, if people have the money, that's the thing.
We've invested hugely. I mean, of course, buying the farms, but we've also invested 130 million in improving them.
As a billionaire, James obviously has the sort of money other farmers don't. But it seems to me that he's experimenting on their behalf. So if usable, future-proof farming methods come from it, that can only be a very good thing. Well, I came away from Dyson Farms with some fabulous British strawberries. I'm going to do my slightly poshed-up take on strawberries and cream. A refreshing strawberry sorbet with creme chantilly and langue du chat biscuits.
A very nice, very summery sweet, I think. I'm going to start by making the langue du chat.
That means cat's tongues in French. The perfect name for these delicate little biscuits. First, you need to whisk together some unsalted butter and caster sugar.
That's nice and fluffy. Just going to wash these, because the next thing I'm going to do is to whisk some egg whites. And the last thing you want in egg whites is any grease. Otherwise, they don't whisk properly.
Whisk an egg white until it forms a soft peak, then add that to the sugar and butter.
Taking care not to lose any volume.
Sift in your plain flour and fold that gently in.
Now into a piping bag. Did you ever do that when you were a kid?
I pipe about 7 centimetres for each biscuit.
I've got 1 or 2 slightly kitten's tongues here rather than cat's tongues. That's typical me. I was just thinking about me and Bake Off. No chance.
Then it's into a hot oven for 7 to 8 minutes. But do keep a beady eye on those biscuits because they burn very easily.
They look a nice light brown now, so we'll just leave them on the paper for about 4 or 5 minutes. then transfer them to the cooling rack.
The sorbet is super simple to make. Once I've hulled 500 grams of strawberries, I add a basic syrup made with 300 ml of water and 150 grams of sugar dissolved over a medium heat, plus the juice of a lemon with my nifty gadget.
If you haven't got one of these, do get one, they're the best.
Then just blitz the lot together.
So it's as simple as that.
Pour the mixture into an ice cream machine and churn it until soft set, then pop it in the freezer.
If you haven't got an ice cream sorbet machine, you can just pour the juice into a container in your freezer, let it nearly freeze, then zhush it all up with a fork, and then put it back for another half an hour or so to freeze. It makes a perfectly acceptable sorbet, but it won't have the softness of one like this. They're not too expensive.
Next, you'll need 150 ml of double or whipping cream, a splash of vanilla essence, and a tablespoon of sifted icing sugar. Whisk until it thickens up nicely.
Well, the whole point of this dish really was just to do strawberries in cream in a slightly more upmarket version. And I just think this looks really nice. And the sorbet is the essence of strawberries. And I'd say the dish really is the essence of summer.
I've made my way to Lincoln, Lincolnshire's only city. The writer John Ruskin described its cathedral as the most precious piece of architecture in the British Isles. The road leading up to the cathedral, aptly named Steep Hill, is the 4th steepest street in England, with a thigh-burning average gradient of over 16 degrees. Stuart Maconie, the DJ and writer, described Steep Hill as a great leveller, and it's just about levelled me off.
Now, the reason that Stuart Maconie walked up Steep Hill was because he wanted to see one of the 4 original Magna Cartas. He just says that certain people maybe like to make a little trip to Lincoln and familiarise themselves again with the contents of the Magna Carta, which says that no one, however powerful, rich or privileged, is above the law.
Lincoln harbours lots of surprising nuggets of history. Another is that during the World Wars, it was a centre for the aviation industry, where up to 1 in 14 of our aircraft were produced. The flat surrounding countryside was ideal for air bases, and Lincolnshire became known as Bomber County. In peacetime, the land returned to farming, and now it's agriculture which continues to shape this county. I'm at a farm just north of Lincoln to meet a woman whose family have been farming in Lincolnshire for 400 years.
Hello.
Author and chef Rachel Green.
Well, of course, you come from generations of farmers.
We go back supposedly 14 generations. It's a long, long time, and I just feel it's in my blood. There's a legacy being left by the Greens in agriculture in Lincolnshire, and I'm very proud of that.
The Greens of Lincolnshire. Well, the other thing is that I've been to Grimsby a few times for the fish.
Yeah.
You know, how come that people don't realise that there's this sort of massive, large county that they really should visit?
Well, there's no real direct motorway, you see. So what they do is they tend to sort of go round it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the sort of kudos perhaps that Norfolk does, but it's equally as beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think people just miss it. I mean, I'm quite grateful in a way, because I like my little county
Okay,
as
well,
my big
we
county.
shouldn't be filming with you then, you know what I mean?
Rachel has offered to make me a truly traditional Lincolnshire treat. Plum bread served with Lincolnshire poacher cheese for which she's going to use her Granny Green's recipe.
So who's Granny Green then?
It was actually my great-grandmother's recipe, so it's sort of passed down through the generations. The thing is, they always had baking days, you see, so it was always done on a Wednesday, and I remember as a little girl helping my grandma make all the cakes and the plum breads for the farm workers and generally for the whole week, so it was done in one hit.
And that would last for the week?
And that would last for the week, yes.
Into a bowl, Rachel adds yeast, a pinch of caster sugar, some strong plain flour and cold water, then mixes that together to form a loose batter. Leaving that to one side so that the yeast can start its work, she combines the rest of the flour, some butter and some lard until the mixture resembles breadcrumbs.
I'm loving the look of that. Plenty of lard in it then.
Absolutely, because it's part of the flavour for me. The reason we actually have plum bread, they always say, was because we had a lot of pigs in Lincolnshire, and if they killed a pig, there'll be spare lard.
Right. And now lard is sort of like allowable.
It is.
Gone are the trans fat, in with the lard.
And a bit of butter as well.
Butter as well.
So I've got
Nothing
both.
wrong with it.
To the breadcrumby mixture, Rachel adds some soft brown sugar, as well as salt, cinnamon, nutmeg and allspice. Then the batter goes back in, along with some milk and a beaten egg. Finally, she adds raisins, sultanas, currants and mixed peel, then mixes that in so it ends up evenly distributed within the loaf. Now roll up your sleeves. Rachel recommends kneading the dough for 15 to 20 minutes until it's soft and elastic.
I just want to ask, how come plums? I didn't see any plums.
No, I mean, everybody said that there is not a plum in sight in here. Obviously, there's a mixture in here of sultanas, currants and raisins, and the sort of collective name years ago for all dried fruit was plumbed fruit.
I didn't know that.
Once the dough has been left to rise for a couple of hours, Rachel divides it into 2 loaf tins, then lets it rise again till it has doubled in size, before finally putting it into the oven for about 40 minutes.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it does.
I'm glad you bought some Lincolnshire poacher. I presume it's Lincolnshire poacher
It
to
is,
go with it.
it is Lincolnshire poacher. It's got to be a hard cheese like that.
Great.
Savoury and the sweet together. Do you like the heel? Do you like the end bit?
Yeah, I do.
I thought you might, Rick,
I
actually.
get very irritated with people that don't eat the ends of breads.
It's the best bit, but as you're the guest, you can have the end bit.
OK, thank you very much indeed, Rachel. Right, here we go. Oh, it's lovely.
Is that right?
Proper Lincolnshire fare, I would say.
That
You know?
flavour, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
That
yeah.
gorgeous melting flavour in your mouth. Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking, tasting this, that it was sort of one of those things that, you know, I'd probably taste another of these, you know, plum breads, and I'd say it's not as good as Rachel's, you know?
You are definitely.
Bit of a charmer, I
You
know.
are a charmer, definitely.
This lovely rural county is not somewhere you'd come to sample the latest food trends. But if you are after, say, a good old-fashioned British sausage, well, you couldn't come to a better place.
Every region has to have its special sausage in the UK. In Glasgow, there's the famous square beef sausage. In Cornwall, there's a black Cornish pig sausage, which is very nice. But my trip couldn't be complete here without trying the famous Lincolnshire sausage with sage.
Red Hill Farm near Gainsborough has been run for the last 30 years by husband and wife Jane and Terry, who breed their own free-range pigs.
They seem very relaxed, these piggies.
Yeah, they are, yeah. The key to it really is just do things naturally, don't impose anything on them. They've got feed in front of them all the time. They can get in the wallets to keep cool in this very hot summer we're having again. They can root about and just generally enjoy life.
I mean, there must be a difference between pigs reared outdoors like this and the ones in barns or in intensive rearing.
Yeah, so it's a huge difference. So they're slower growing, the meat becomes more succulent, the marbling becomes more, and it just gives you that fantastic flavouring.
I'm getting a bit excited now.
Time to move away from piggy ears, I think, and talk to Jane about the sausages she and Terry make right here on the farm. Unlike, say, the Cumberland sausage, Lincolnshire sausages don't have protected food status, so Jane and Terry are one of the few producers who make them using a strictly traditional recipe.
Proper Lincolnshire sausages are very difficult to find now because we don't have protected status. A lot of sausages out there today are made in all sorts of different ways, and then they can label them as Lincolnshire.
The proper Lincolnshire sausages made here are 20% fat and 80% lean meat, coarsely minced together. Rusk, salt, pepper, seasonings and sage are added in. Sage is the ingredient which really marks out a Lincolnshire sausage. It's said to have been brought to the area by the Romans and apparently thrives in the local soil. The mixture is piped into natural skins and the sausages are linked by hand.
So why haven't you got a protected status then?
I think it's because a lot of people outside of Lincolnshire got involved. Every Lincolnshire sausage, which is sold anywhere in the country, would have to be made in Lincolnshire. And the biggest producers of Lincolnshire sausages were outside the county. And
of course.
they can make them however they want.
Yeah.
And they don't need to have Lincolnshire pork.
It sort of makes my blood boil, to be honest, because it's so obvious. You know, if you say a Lincolnshire sausage, surely it should be made in Lincolnshire. You know, it's as simple as that.
I'm very much looking forward to tasting a proper Lincolnshire sausage in Lincolnshire, expertly cooked by Terry.
Here we go. Guests first. How many would you like?
Two. Thanks, Terry. Thank you. Don't want to be greedy, but one's not enough.
Okay.
Right. Well, it certainly looks very, can't use the word moist. Everybody hates it, so I don't know what, very,
Succulent.
Succulent.
That's the word,
Absolutely.
yes.
Oh, yes. That is very nice, very distinctive with the sage in it. I can see when you say about the marbling, you can taste it in the meat, can't you?
Still the sweetness
Succulent,
in there. Yeah.
yes. Can I have another?
You can, yeah.
I've fired up my trusty barbecue at home and I'm going to make my version of bangers and mash.
So I'm just going to do a very simple accompaniment to my lovely Lincolnshire sausages, which is a red onion gravy. And I'm going to do some mashed potato with spring onions, which the Irish call champ.
For the red wine gravy, roughly chop some celery and onions.
Quite big pieces. I want a chunky gravy.
Then some carrots.
Monster carrots.
A little trick of mine is to sprinkle in some sugar to encourage more caramelisation. Then some flour to thicken the gravy up.
Beginning to look very nice, I think. But the next thing is most important, red wine. And I'm going to do an unpardonable thing and use about half a bottle of red wine. I know that's very extravagant, but it makes a difference.
Now for my secret weapon, vincotto, meaning cooked wine. You can make this yourself by reducing red wine down with a little sugar. Adding about 4 tablespoons of vincotto will give my gravy depth and sweetness.
And now just boil off most of the alcohol in the red wine.
Finally add some beef stock, fresh bay leaves and thyme.
So I'm just going to leave that now to simmer away for about 20 minutes, something like that. All the veg will then be nicely cooked down, and I think I'll just finish this red wine sauce with a little bit of butter. Just gives it a nice richness and a glisteningness, which I love in a gravy like this. On to the mashed potato, I think.
The key to good mash is the right potato. Maris Piper or King Edward work well. As you mash these down, don't stint on the butter and milk. And to turn this into Irish champ, mix in a handful of spring onions. Once the gravy has reduced down, finish it off with some seasoning and remove the bay leaves and thyme.
Very nice.
On the barbecue, my Lincolnshire sausages are sizzling away nicely.
Incidentally, the name bangers for sausages came from the First World War, and in those days there was not a lot of pork around, so the sausages were filled with not much meat, but a lot of filler and a lot of water. The result was, when you put them under the grill, they expanded and exploded, and that's why they were called bangers. A bit hot. Yow. Need longer-handled tongs. They look very nice, I think. Now, to serve up. Here we go. Bit of sausage, a bit of my red wine gravy. Oh, oh. What could be better than bangers and mash with sausages like this? It's such a great British dish. It's sort of one of those things that just gets overlooked a lot of the time, but my gosh, it's so comforting, so yummy. And a good excuse. Just a little sip red wine. Champion.
Before I leave Lincolnshire, there's one more local speciality I want to track down. I tasted it years ago, and I wonder if it's still going strong.
Hello.
Hello, all right.
I just wondered if you did chine, Lincolnshire chine.
We do.
Do you?
We do. We certainly do.
Fantastic. I thought it might have the right look about it.
Chine consists of cured pork back, stuffed with parsley, and slowly simmered for several hours.
Oh, that's great. Do you still sell it?
We sell loads of it, absolute loads of it. Just a Lincolnshire tradition.
My favourite thing about this county, which I now know also to be a place of fantastic farming innovation.
And
Do you mind if I just have a bit more? I shouldn't be when I'm talking, but...
Help yourself.
Is that it's a place where the best of British food tradition is alive and well, with Lincolnshire chine as the perfect example.
I've just got this really optimistic feeling that I don't think that tradition is going to die. It's just lovely food.
If you'd like to see more episodes of Rick Stein's food stories, press the red button now to watch on BBC iPlayer. Next time, I'm in Northern Ireland.
Sunday lunch, Filipino style.
Dig in!
I'm going to make the most delicious pie using a whole pint of Guinness, why not? A dogfish bacon. That's lovely.
Genuinely, the uglier the fish, the tastier the dish.
Yeah.